Quick update on progress on the Moke. The next time you see it, it should be completely finished. Where to start? So this is actually Raptor liner. The body on these wasn't very good from the get-go, and there were an awful lot of holes, you probably remember from the last video, that had to be filled. So it was never going to be smooth, so we decided to go with that. It's actually black underneath, if you can see under there. Seats are Lusso seats from Italy. These are for, I think, the Lotus Exige. Anyway, they're pretty comfy, but they're also narrow. Good incentive to stay fairly slim. Steering wheel is from regular Mini. Most of the parts have been sent away and powder coated or painted. Got a new windshield for it. That was an absolute nightmare getting it into the seal. This is a two-part piece, so this comes off of this. Lubed up the whole surround, tried to slide it in. It took forever. Had to use ratchet straps and all sorts. Had a really hard time finding a rear view mirror. This is actually from a company that makes aftermarket parts. This is from the mid-50s Chevys. Use this type of mirror. Put an upgraded handle on the parking brake. There is a bench seat for this thing, which was a Corbeau, basically for a Jeep Wrangler. Had that recovered in white neoprene to match the fronts. That's not going in until very last, along with the roll bar. New shocks, different wheels. We went with the Sport Packs. Let me roll this thing out of the way real quick so you can see the back end, because I just finished that up a couple nights ago. So we went with the Land Rover Defender LED lamps on this thing, and I think that's actually going to work pretty bloody well. This is going to be the backup light. It's a LED flood, got a little bit of adjustment in it. There's the LED license plate light. License plate will go there. Yet to figure out how, but the spare will go here. I don't know if it'll be part of the roll cage or if I don't know exactly how we're going to do that. Anyway, got a new fuel tank for it. This bumper is actually from a Jeep Wrangler. Guy took it off locally, didn't want it, got a good deal on it, so that's going to go on the front. I don't know exactly how that's going to mount. The worst of the rust damage I discovered was actually in the floor of the battery box right here. So what you're seeing down in there is a new panel. I just cut out the rot and put a new piece in there. The dash is away getting welded up. This has been powder coated. Of course, I had to change all this to get rid of the clutch because we're going automatic. The engine is going to be gone through before it gets installed. Move it back so you can see the front. LED headlights, which you can see sitting right there. So all LED on the lights. This thing's been hit pretty hard at some point, and this is evidence right here. This is a pretty big gap here. It's hard to see now, but there's also a fold in the front of this thing. But it is what it is. So if I open up what I would call the bonnet here. Yeah, so we went with black under there. You can see, so a couple of the differences. So this subframe is for the automatic. The differences being the old one actually had bolts that would come through it, 3 bolts, because we don't have that now, so we had to go with just the 2 big ones. There was a plate here which was pretty badly damaged, so I just put 4 bolts instead of using the captive ones that were on the bottom of the top of the pedal cluster. Same on the other side. The mounts down here, so there's a bolt underneath there that goes all the way through and ties into the back of this box here. And then in the back, there are, I'll try and show you, there are kind of wings that go back. If you can see, there you go. And they're different. So as you can see, they're short by about, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches. I don't know how we're going to get around that. There's 2 ways of doing it. You can get a regular subframe, which this had originally, and you can cut the whole back off and weld it on. Well, it's a bit late for that since this has all been powder coated. You can get some blocks that go in there. I had some blocks that I was told would work that don't fit. Or what I might do is actually make a piece that goes from there back and ties into the floor, which would be right under there. There's a kind of a reinforced box section in there, and have another strap that will actually come up under the footwell, and so it's supported in every direction. Steering rack was not in too bad of a shape. My first instinct was I'll just either put a new one in there or maybe get this one remanufactured. I heard from several different places that the reproduction ones are actually rubbish. They don't last very long. You better get your old one rebuilt. However, I couldn't find anybody who would do it, so I basically just cleaned it up, painted it, put new oil in it, new boots, and went with it as is. See, we've got the flexible brake lines under there. The brakes on these apparently are pretty good. New shocks, you can see. So essentially, just going to have those assessed and see how they are, see if they can be, you know, rebuild kit or whatever. And I think that from everything I've read, that should be plenty. There are a lot of different upgrade kits, but they're also varying degrees of spendy. And if they're really not going to gain much, I'm not super excited about doing that. It will get a new master cylinder. So I think that's pretty much it from here. There's not much else I can do. I just realized to my horror that there is a rubber seal that goes on either side of those, and mine are absolutely trashed. So, of course, a lot of this has been, you know, waiting a week for parts. So I'll put those on, and then it's going down to California. I'm thinking sometime second weekend of January, if the weather is okay. I will put it in a cargo trailer, hook it up to the Range Rover, and away we will go. Can't really see it, but the engine is down in there with the automatic transmission. Shifter will pop up through that hole. It'll need engine gone through, exhaust fitted, and then everything wired. And then it should be ready to rock and roll. It's been an interesting project. What you're seeing over there is what will be an LS-powered Land Rover Defender 90. Unfortunately, there's been a big hold up on parts for that. So in the meantime, I've just been working on this one. Any questions, drop a comment below, and the next time you see this, it should be running, and I should be able to get a video of driving it, hopefully not in the snow, and we'll go from there. Thanks for your attention.